The 2020-21 season countdown is brought to you by Oddschecker, your one-stop betting hub. Hi and welcome to episode 41 of the Talk is Cheap show. Got a great show lined up for you today. First show of the Premier League season 2021. And it's my great pleasure to introduce my co-host and resident expert, Mr. Curtis Shaw, in the house from Curtis Shaw TV. What are you saying, bro?
Hey, what's happening, bro? Just counting down the new season, you know, hoping they don't ruin the mood of the weekend. But, you know, I'm confident this time. But it's always dangerous when you're confident with Arsenal.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But, I'm kind of looking forward to the season, man. I really am. We're going to get into that. But before we do that, tell the people what you've been up to, man, in the last couple of days.
Boy, I mean, I'm reading we could be going into lockdown number 2. So, you know, I need to get in the gym. I need to party. I need to do everything this weekend. But
yeah, I got news too, man. It come out yesterday that the social gathering to be restricted to 6 people.
Yeah.
But I think the key difference is the social gathering. So I think it's more applicable if I'm getting this, if I'm reading this right, is that groups of people socializing. They're trying to clamp down on that because it seems like a lot of young people have been going out and doing their thing and have been a bit blasé about it. So I think the government are trying to rein all that in.
Yeah,
our rate's been going back up, and they're worried that it could spiral out of control again. I'm also hearing from speaking to a few people in the news and that the death rates are going up quite significantly again. Although the figures are not being released, are they?
No.
But I'm hearing on the quiet that the government are concerned that the death rates relating to COVID are going back up again. So we just have to hope, man, that things stabilise back out and the R rate goes back down, man. But hey, man, yeah, it's a serious situation. So listen, did you catch up with the internationals this week?
Well, I caught a bit of it.
I guess the news that was dominating the whole internationals was the situation with Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden.
I think that was the most exciting thing about both the international games on it.
It goes back to our little segment that we used to run about footballers behaving badly. This is yet another egregious behavioural incident, man. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? On the whole thing, you know what I mean? Just break it down.
I mean, look, initially, I think most people would have said it's 2 young lads being young lads, if you like. But I think because of the circumstances, we are in the middle of a pandemic, 2 young lads getting their first international call-up. To do something like that, you can't really defend it. You know, you're putting the safety of the rest of your team on the line for the sake of a couple of girls, man. I'm sure them man get plenty of girls when they're in England, or in fact, Foden, I think, has just had a baby. So
yeah, Foden. I mean, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in his yard the other day, man. Because I mean, he's just had a kid, and I think he lives with his girl as well. So,
yeah, I read that she's forgiven him. Apparently, she's forgiven him already. So he must have wrote a nice check, you know, just to smooth things over a little bit. But yeah, man.
She took him at his word that he was.
Yeah, you know,
totally innocent.
Foolish behaviour from them two. And the way the girl set them up as well, she's recording it all, and they got to know better than that, man, you know?
Well, it goes back to what, I think it was me and you were talking yesterday, or it could have been me and Robbie, and I was saying to the person that this kind of, it just goes back to that whole Adam and Eve thing, innit? In the day, man, you know what I mean? Even back to biblical times, man. A man can always get brought down by a woman, you know what I mean? So
it's the weakness, isn't it?
It's the weakness, bro. You know what I mean? So they'll have to learn from this. I mean, it could take them a while to get back in the team. Because let's face it, these guys are not like regulars. They're establishing their way in the England setup. It's a big faux pas from both of them, man. You know what I mean? You know,
and the thing what's going to really frustrate them is apparently they have to quarantine for 14 days now. So if you're Pep, you can't use Foden for the first 2 weeks now, or Greenwood. So you're going to be angry if you're their manager. You know, I can imagine Pep, you know, going crazy. We've seen him on them documentaries. Everybody sit down. What are you doing, Phil? Like, come on, man. So, yeah. But they'll learn from it, man. You know, most most English footballers had scandals at one stage. You know, Rooney had grannies, and Beckham had his. You know what I mean? So people will forget about it quick enough, but silly behaviour.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, the young guys. Don't get me wrong, it was a foolish thing to do, but the young guys, they've got plenty of time to bounce back from this. I'm sure they'll learn the lessons. They're both excellent players, so once they start performing on the pitch, you'll see a corresponding subsidence of all this stuff. So, yeah, man. Also on the international scene, it was good to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles get a full debut. He came on last night. So that was great. Eddie as well, man. He's been tearing it up for the under-21s. He got a hat-trick and then he got another goal in the second game. 4 goals in 2 games. I think I heard somewhere they were saying that he's on course to break Alan Shearer's record for the under-21s, which would be phenomenal if he can do that. So, yeah, shout out to him for that. And also I see Guendouzi's representing France.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. He made a kind of cryptic comment, didn't he, on his social media account after, where he was saying, bigging up the French team on the 2 victories that they had. And then he added something like, it's time to get back to work at Arsenal, which I thought was quite intuitive, him saying that.
Yeah. Do you know, and what was funny as well was Mesut Ozil was one of the first to comment on that picture and put like the love hearts and that. It's like them two saying, yo, this brother thinks he can get rid of us. Yeah, no, it don't work like that.
Listen, man, if you need some advice on how to deal with all that stuff, man, I can mentor you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll make sure you don't go nowhere, bro. So I think it undermines Arteta a little bit. He clearly was trying to get rid of them two. And, all of a sudden they're being pushed back. It almost says to me that the board, they didn't really push to get Mesut Ozil out or to sell Guendouzi, and now he's got to work with them, so he's going to have to show his management skills now.
Yeah, you make a very interesting point there. But you know what? Let's be honest, man. From the club's point of view, these 2 players are what you call assets, aren't they? They're assets to the club.
Yeah.
So at some point, I mean, they've tried to get rid of both of them, unsuccessful so far. So maybe the strategy now will be to incorporate them back into the team, show them a bit of love, give them a second chance. Hopefully they'll grasp it. They'll start playing again. And then maybe put in a few good performances that will attract the attention of other clubs. Because at the end of the day, they are assets to the club. And it will probably suit Arsenal if they do play again.
Yeah.
Get some good performances that might attract other clubs and then get some money from them.
Or even on the flip side, I actually think Guendouzi he's still got an opportunity probably to have a career at Arsenal. He's only 21.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he has a good, 7, 8, 9 games in a row, it'll all be forgotten about. So, come back, get your head down, train hard, and it's still there for him if he plays well.
Let's hope he does. And I guess the other big news this week on what was a relatively slow news week, but the other news that seems to have been grabbing the attention is the impending departure of our big friend and brethren and co-influencer, Troops.
Yeah, man.
He's off to pursue a career opportunity in the States, and he goes with Robbie and all of AFTV's blessings. So we wish him all the best in that, man. I mean, I've got to know Troops over the last couple of years quite well. And he's a stand-up guy, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the funniest guys I've met. Always entertaining, you know what I mean? And he keeps it real, you know what I mean? And you know what as well? The man knows his football. Don't be fooled by all the fam and the blood stuff and everything else, man. He's a real character, but trust me, there's 2 things that people need to know if they don't know already. One is that his love of Arsenal is deep. He's a lifelong Arsenal fan. You can tell that within seconds of talking to him. And secondly, the man knows his stuff, man. I've chopped it up about football with him on many occasions, on a variety of football matters, not just Arsenal as well. And he knows his stuff. And the other thing about him as well, man, he's got a very impressive memory. Bring up stats, facts, and figures from way back. So he's a very impressive individual, man. I think some people get carried away and fooled by the persona that they see, the perception. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's deeper than that, man.
Yeah, man. I think
What are your thoughts on?
he deserves a lot of credit. You know, he's been one of the pioneers for AFTV, if you like. I think you look at the impact on social media when it was announced that he was going, and the reactions and the amount of people commenting, and that tells you how much love and respect people have got for him. I've got to know him a lot better over the past year, and he's a top guy, man. You know, nothing but respect for him, and I hope it works out for him over there. I think, you know, it's brave of him to do it, but, you know, why not go for it? It's a big opportunity for him, so I hope it works out well for him and his family, man. So big up troops, man.
We should also say as well that he's been able to establish good relationships with some of the Arsenal players over the years, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like Aubameyang's constantly shouting him out. They have a relationship. Ian has got a good relationship with him. Lacazette, you know what I mean? And I could name others, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, big good guy out.
Yeah, man. Respect.
He goes with our blessings, like I said, and hope it works well. And I'm sure he'll keep in touch and let us know what's going on. But okay, so that was the troops transfer.
Yeah.
Some of the have a quick transfer roundup of some of the transfers happening or not happening as it relates to Arsenal. So as usual, I made a little list. Yeah, we'll go through quickly. I guess the name that was dominating in the past couple of days, past week, has been Bellerin, Hector Bellerin, who incidentally we found out the other day has now become a majority shareholder at Forest Green. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. I know he's pursuing his green agenda. Yeah, green fits quite nicely into that. So yeah, wish him all the best with that one. Yeah. In terms of the transfer stuff, rumours, he's been linked heavily with PSG. I think Bayer Leverkusen as well signalled an interest. Yeah. Do you think he could go? What do you reckon to that, man? Because I'm quite intrigued by what's happening here.
Yeah, I think
saying that he wants to stay. And he's normally quite savvy around social media and stuff. He's been noticeably quiet, hasn't he? He hasn't said much.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think if PSG put enough money on the table, everyone will consider it. You know, the deal makes sense for him on a number of like things. You know, to go to PSG, you're going to win trophies. Let's face it, they're ahead of us right now. They got to the Champions League final. You know, it gives him a good opportunity to get back into that Spanish squad because you're playing in the Champions League. They'll offer him more wages. He'll get a big signing on fee, you know, and the whole fashion thing goes hand in hand as well. You know, he likes to wear, you know, a sarong or something occasionally, don't he? So, you know, maybe Paris Fashion Week will suit him, but no.
I saw a picture of him the other day, man, with his hair out and wearing some what I might describe as some rather goofy clothes, man. But hey, you know what I mean? It takes all sorts, so I'm not going to knock him on that. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right, man. I think a city like Paris might suit him. You know
man, for real. I think they have decent money, man. I think Arsenal. I think Ainsley has fought his way back into Arteta's thoughts now, and the fact he's an England international now. You got Cedric as backup. I think if they can get 30-odd million for Bellerin, I think they might take it. Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah. And I think it makes sense on a number of levels. It might even be mutually beneficial to him. Because like I said, it's noticeable for a guy like him who's quite savvy around social media. He hasn't actually come out and said he wants to stay at the club.
No.
He might be doing it because he's been at the club a long time now, hasn't it? Since he was a kid.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, you know what, if I am going to make a move, now is as good a time as any. He's probably seen the likes of Ainsley coming up behind his shoulder, looking for that first team spot, man. And he's thinking, you know what I mean, I don't really want to be on the sidelines. You know what I mean? He might be thinking, yeah, this is a possible good new career move for me.
Man.
Yeah, we'll see how that one turns out, man. The other name that seems to be dominating over the past couple of days is the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Martinez, man. You know what I mean? As the season approaches, and we will talk about this later when we look at our game coming up against Fulham. But the manager's got some decisions to make, man, about who's going to be number one, him or Leno. That Leno's back fit now. It would appear that Leno is the first choice goalkeeper, but Martinez has been outstanding ever since Leno got taken off in that game against Brighton injured. And then he's been consistently outstanding. So how do you say to them, man, I'm going to have to relegate you to number two? So, and my man's already said He's put it out there. He's put it on Front Street. Listen, if I don't get first team football, I'm off.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, there's been all the speculation. I see Aston Villa have put in a bid, although it wasn't deemed as being enough. But that's obviously just an initial bid. If they really want him, I'm sure they'll come back.
Yeah.
So what do you think, man?
This one for me is very difficult because I think Martinez should be #1 starting the season. What happens further down the line, you know, Leno can earn his place back. But Martinez, to me, has done everything to justify starting as our #1 goalkeeper. He's been brilliant since he's come in. I've actually felt safer with him in goal than Leno. I'm not saying he's better than Leno, but I just feel more assured and more comfortable with him, with his kicking, with his ability to catch crosses. And I don't blame him for saying, look, man, I need a new contract. I want to be in first choice. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. So I'm a little bit concerned. I think Arsenal might sell him, if I'm honest. I think they're looking to raise money to bring in 1 or 2 big signings. And if they can get 20-odd million for him, I think they might take it because I think Leno is their #1 ultimately.
Yeah, and of course they would have had their hand forced by the fact that Martinez has said publicly that if he's not #1, he'll be looking to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, moving swiftly on then, because I'm conscious that we've got a couple of other things to talk about.
Yeah.
Hossein Aouar, midfielder, French international. What are you saying, bro? Is that going to happen?
It's a tough one. I think Juninho, who's like the chief executive of Lyon, he confirmed that him and Edu have spoken about him. So we've inquired. The problem is they want cash. You know, they want 50 million for him. Can Arsenal pull 50 million out the bag? You know, I think they offered Guendouzi. They didn't want him. It's who they sell and what they can raise, you know, and will Lyon take installments, you know? So it's possible, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, he's a good player, good midfielder.
Very good player.
Talking of that, the Partey thing doesn't seem to be moving on anytime soon. Although the interest is still there, it's just enough doesn't seem to be happening. This is one that I really wanted to see Arsenal get over the line, man. So I'm becoming increasingly frustrated, as I'm sure and a lot of the fans. But yeah, I mean, it just seems to be stagnating, man. You know what I mean? Like, the situation is there. The club have said we want the release clause money up front. None of this installments business. You know what I mean? If you want them, you've got to, you know, be serious and meet our release clause. Arsenal so far have not been able to do that for whatever reason. I would suspect that they're trying to engage in the sale of other players to raise the money. But the longer this goes on, the more you doubt whether it will happen.
Yeah, very frustrating.
A couple of weeks to go for the transfer window to close. I think it's October the 5th. So, you know, it could still happen. But hey, we say this every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucas Pereira, there's been stories in the news of him possibly going to Italy and maybe even back to South America. It's 1 or 2 reports I'm reading. I think with Pereira, we've spoken about this before, and I think it's a classic case of a player that's not really been able to settle.
Yeah.
For whatever reason that might be. I've heard various things from the way he's been deplored on the pitch by various managers to personal problems off the pitch. But for whatever reason, it's not quite happened. And it would appear that the player, if not in favour of a move, certainly wouldn't be against the move. So it might be time now for the club to just cash in and just come to the conclusion that, you know what, for whatever reason it didn't work out, it'd be mutually beneficial if parties went their own way. What do you think? That's my thoughts. Anyway.
I mean, I think since Torreira landed off the plane, he wanted to get the return flight back to Italy, didn't he? You know, he's spoken about Italy the whole time, but you know, Torreira, he
might have done Alexis in reverse. Yeah,
in reverse, man. Yeah, Alexis wanted to come back. Torreira wanted to get out. So, look, man, grant the man his wish. If he's not settled off the pitch, you know, he's okay on the pitch. He started off well, but if we need to raise funds, if you get 20-odd million for him, that gets you halfway to Partey. So I'd let Torreira go if you can get the money for him.
And plus, you want players that are, you know, single-minded and focused in achieving their goal. What you don't want is disaffected players. Players become disenchanted for whatever reason. So the guy's a good player. You know what I mean? like I said, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. It happens, man.
Yeah.
Players than him. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm going to finish this segment off by talking about the person we always talk about when we have these conversations. The big man. About my blood clot, young. Signature. You know what I mean? Maybe
look,
before Troops goes. Maybe that would be the lasting legacy that Troops will have, is if he can persuade Aubameyang to sign the thing as soon as possible. What do you think?
Do you know what? I get the impression he's waiting to see what else is out there. You know, to me, if that deal was wrapped up, he would have signed by now. What's the delay? Even this week, announce it before we play the first league game. I'm wondering, is he sitting there going, let me see who makes an offer before the window closes? You know, Suarez is leaving Barcelona to go Juventus. Maybe someone's saying there's a little gap somewhere. The longer it goes on, the more uneasy I feel about the whole situation, to be honest.
You know what? You make an excellent point, and I was going to make a similar point myself, is that, you know, I'm confident he's going to sign. But you have to say to yourself, the longer this goes on without him signing, the more the situation is vulnerable for somebody to nip in there with a last-minute bid. I mean, you never know. In the world of football, things can happen.
You don't.
A couple of weeks ago that Messi would suddenly trigger transfer speculation in the way that he did. And like you said, there are other top strikers on the move.
Yeah.
I mean, and it could happen. So that's why it's important to tie these deals down as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Very frustrating that this supposed deal hasn't been, you know,
announced. Yeah.
Yet. So you're right, man. Every day that he hasn't signed, you know what I mean, the door is open for somebody to come in with a last-minute bid and to tempt the player away from the club.
Yeah.
Which, if he did leave, that would be absolutely criminal, man. But I'm still going to be positive.
Yeah.
That, I am confident he's going to sign, but, you know, it just needs to happen, man. It just needs to happen. Right, okay. Thanks very much for that. That's our transfer weekly roundup, as it were. Right, moving on to bigger things, man. This weekend, the curtain raiser, man. First game of the 2021 season. I must say, I'm looking forward to it immensely. It seems like the season's done. You know, the FA Cup and the Community Shield stuff, but we're back to the regular food, man. You know what I mean? The Premier League. First game away to Fulham. Early kickoff at the weekend. Let's go straight in, man. Let's start cooking. What's your thoughts on that game?
I mean, first of all, it's a good game on paper. I'm confident we're going to win this game. I think Fulham will be difficult. They play good football. They've just been promoted, so confidence is high. Scott Parker's their manager, you know, ex-Premier League player. He'll have them fired up. You know, we need to start the season well. We need to win this game. I think even a draw would be a bad result for us. We need to go there, put in a convincing performance and win the game. It'll be interesting what formation and team selection Arteta picks, you know, with the goalkeeper, and does Willian start? And I'm hearing David Luiz has got a slight injury now. So will he play Gabriel and Saliba? So all these things, but I think
because I was going to ask you about that. Let's talk about it. So, yeah, you're right, man. It's a very winnable game. No disrespect to Fulham, but, you know, if you're the likes of Arsenal, man, and you're looking to make waves this season, no disrespect to Fulham, man, but Fulham away, especially with no fans in the ground, that should be a game that intimidates Arsenal in the slightest.
No.
It's been far more difficult. I'm just going to leave it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a winnable game. Yeah. And if history tells us as well that we've always done well playing against Fulham, you know what I mean? So it should hold no real fears for us.
No.
The only problem is that we've got to have the right attitude going into this game. But I was going to ask you about team selection. Give us your thoughts on who you would like to see start. Let's start with the goalkeepers, man.
As I said, man, Emmy should be in goal for me, bro. I'm telling you, Martinez should be in goal.
Yeah.
He's earned that. He's earned it. You know, how can you allow him to play like that and then just drop him because the other guy's back? It's not like Leno is 10 times better than him. I think they're quite close in ability for me.
Yeah.
So I think
with that though, is that if Leno's your established #1 goalkeeper,
yeah,
I mean, he was playing exceptionally well up until the point he was injured, which was it's not like he'd been sent off or something like that. The man got injured in the field of play. It was very unfortunate what happened. I mean, let's keep it real, yeah? Let's be honest. At the time when he got injured, no one saw this coming, man. Everyone was like, hurrah, you know what I mean? Because Leno had been playing really well. Yeah. Him and Aubameyang and one or two others, when they were like the standouts. In fact, I would say those two were the standouts, weren't they? Definitely. For most of last season. So it's slightly unfair on him as well, because if you're the number one, right, he'll be looking at it like, listen, it wasn't my fault what happened. Yes, Emmy's come in and he's done outstandingly well, but I am the recognised number one at the club. I'm fit. I'm now back playing. I think he played for Germany the other day, you know what I mean? He did. Fitness now. I'm expecting to get my jersey back at some point, whether it be the first game or a few games into the season. So, but yeah, on the other hand, how do you say to Martinez, who's been outstanding in that time, and not just the odd game, man, he's been consistently outstanding. How do you say to him, yeah, well, actually, so this is going to be a real test of Arteta's man management skills. He's been tested in that area in other fronts, but I would argue that this is probably the most difficult situation he's faced yet. In terms, I mean, the thing is, if the club have decided that they're going to sell Martinez to Villa or whatever, then you might as well play Leno. As much as I would play Martinez, if they're going to sell him, then what's the point playing him for 2 games and then you're going to sell him in a week's time? You might as well put Leno back in and have him as your number one. So it depends what decision they're making. You know, if they're planning on keeping Martinez, then I think he should be starting. But if they're looking to cash in, then you might as well put Leno back in goal. So it's going to be an interesting line an hour before kickoff.
But if you were the manager, who would you put?
I would keep Martinez. I would play Martinez and I would keep him. And I would give him a new contract as well. I would, man. Honestly, he's earned it for me.
Yeah. That's an interesting. I think, you know what? It's going to be so interesting. Everyone's going to be so keyed up for the game. But as part of that, I think a lot of the pre-match interest is going to be around that. Who starts in goal for us? But in a way, it's a good problem to have for Arteta.
It is.
I'm interested to see how he's going to handle it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could make a case for either guy starting. So, okay, looking at the defence then, as you alluded to earlier, it would appear that David Luiz, he's suffered a neck injury is what we're hearing. He's doubtful. I've seen a report this morning where they're saying he's major doubt.
Major doubt, yeah.
So that being said, who would you like to see in the defence? I mean, we've got a few options now, haven't we?
I'd play the 2 new guys. Honestly, I would. I'd put them straight in.
Even though we're above Murray?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure he's fully fit, is he? Yeah, I'd go Gabriel and Saliba, man. I think this is a decent game to put him in, you know. If he was playing Chelsea or Man United, Man City, Liverpool, I'd be like, but Fulham, I think, put him in.
But you know what, though? You say that, man, but who's Fulham's #1 threat?
Who have they got? I'm not even sure.
Mitrovic.
Yeah, Mitrovic.
And he's a baller.
He's difficult.
You know what? Mitrovic, now that I'm thinking about it, he represents a big threat. Right? Because he's physical and he can play. You know what I mean? And he's Premier League tested.
Yeah.
And he's going to offer those guys a serious welcoming to the Premier League, man. You know what I mean? He will put himself about.
Yeah.
Both physically and, you know, he can engage in the dark arts as well, man. You know what I mean? And he'll be looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
First game of their season back in the Premier League. He was the hero. I think he got 26 goals last year for Fulham, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
And his first Premier League season, he was hot as well. I think I saw some stat the other day as well, actually, where he's got like 49 goals in 100 games, which is obviously just under 1 in 2.
Great record.
Yeah. So this guy can play, man. Serbian international.
Yeah.
A young guy like Saliba and Gabriel, you're new to this country. I don't know if the first person you want to meet
is Mitrovic,
man. You know what I mean? Because like I said, he can play, but he's also a real handful physically. And like I said, man, he knows the dark arts. So
the only reason I'm looking at, I'm thinking you've got Mustafi who's injured. I believe Pablo Mara's injured. Luiz could be injured. Socrates they're trying to get rid of. So who do you play? Maybe you play Rob Holding with Saliba, and so I would just play. I'd play them both, to be honest. I would just play them both. The rest of them haven't really done much.
So what type of formation would you like to see?
I'd go back to 4 at the back. I don't think you need to play that 5 at the back against Fulham, or 3 at the back, however you want to put it.
So what about the wing backs and, you know, things, stuff like that?
Yeah, I would play 4. I would probably play Tierney and Maitland-Niles at fullback.
So no Bellerin, no?
Nah, man, I wouldn't play Bellerin, you know. No, I think Ainsley will be on a high. He's just played for England, played really well in their Community Shield. Yeah, I would play him. He would be my first choice.
Conundrum for the manager then, isn't it?
Another one, yeah.
It's a good problem to have, but at the same time, it's I guess that's why these managers get all that money, man, because you know they have to make these type of decisions.
Yeah, man, get him and fly him to Paris.
You never know, he might make an appearance for Forest Green, man. You know But like I said, it's a conundrum because you could make a case for either one of them two, him or Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Right in the midfield, then. So what are you saying there, bro?
I mean,
again,
I think it's Ceballos and Xhaka, really. I think know they finished the season well. I don't want people getting caught up in this El Neni hype, you know what I mean? Because he had a couple of good games. We've still got to try and shift him out the club.
The man's throwing his hat in the ring, man.
Yeah, throw it back out. I don't want the El Neni in midfield, man. I mean, I can't.
No, you know what I mean? Listen, man, we have to adopt a meritocracy, you know what I mean? If the man's come in and he's played well, and to be fair, he played more than well, you know. I'm going to keep it real, man. I'm going to keep it 100. He played very well. And I wasn't expecting him to do that well. I'm just going to be honest, man. I didn't think he really had that type of performance in him against a team like Liverpool. He did play well. He impressed. There were some people saying, you know, talking about him in terms of man of the match. I think that was reaching a bit. But he did play well. So he's kind of thrown his hat in the ring there.
He has. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him.
Ceballos and Xhaka.
I wouldn't be surprised if they keep El Neni, because they might look at him as just a guy who he's not going to moan too much if he doesn't play. You can play him in the Europa League, the League Cup. He'll come off the bench for 20 minutes. You know, sometimes you just have them players in the squad. So as much as I would sell him, it wouldn't surprise me if they kept him.
But you know what? On El Neni, I'm going to leave it like this, we can all make comments about his perceived lack of ability or whatever, But the one thing no one can say is that he always gives it 100% on the pitch. Yeah. And as you alluded to a little while ago, he does seem like a team man. He seems to get on very well with all the players and managers. And obviously that helps. So every team has a player like that in their squad. Or you know what I mean? So, hey, man, I wish him well. You know what I mean? If he can carve out a career at Arsenal, go for it. You know what I mean? I mean, if he come to the club from Basel for about 5 million, you know what I mean? And unlike others, when they're not been involved with, and I'm not going to name names, but thrown their boys out the pram and not turned up for Zoom meetings and been engaging in nefarious practices outside, like balloons and all them things. You can't say that about him. He just kept work. So fair play to him for that. Okay, moving through the team then. So we've talked about goalkeepers, defence, midfield. Up front, man. Partner Aubameyang. I mean, is it going to be Laka or is it going to be the man on fire, Eddie?
It's got to be Laka for me. You know, I got a lot of time for Eddie's under 21 goals. There's some good finishes in there as well, but I've got to go Laka. I think it's a very, very big season for Lacazette, and the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, now is have him on the bench for the first game of the season. What kind of message is that sending to him? I think this is the season. It's make or break for Lacazette. If he hits the ground running, scores goals, his long-term futures at Arsenal. If it doesn't work for him this year, you may have to look to get rid of him next summer. So I want Lacazette playing next to Aubameyang and Pepe on that right-hand side as well.
Yeah, I would go with that. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Pepe gets on this season, man. I mean, he had that season last. It's a bit in and out, you know. I'm a believer in him, man. I like, you know what I mean? Even when he was perceived as not playing very well, he still came up with some important goals. Sometimes the lack of goals and assists doesn't tell the whole story in terms of his performances. He did some good things, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited about seeing him this season, and you know, he's had a year to adjust.
Yeah.
To adjust. Now we should kick in and we should see the real Pepe. So yeah, I'm excited.
And Willian as well, man. Willian, I forgot.
Yeah.
How can I forget, man? I've been praising. I want him in that number 10 role.
That's your guy. You know
I want him in that number 10 role, man. I'm telling you. Where Mesut Ozil was playing, put Willian in that 10 role. I'm telling you. He's got a good shot. He's quick. He's good on the turn. I'm expecting.
I must admit, I was a naysayer at first.
Yeah.
And obviously, spending a lot of time in your company, you kind of brought me around to the idea. Listen, we all knew the guy was a good player, very good. It's just that we was thinking, do we really want somebody in his supposed latter years coming to the club for a couple of years and then going off again and not really making an impact? Was that, you know what I mean? But you know what? The more I hear from people like yourself, the more I'm convinced it could work. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all pans out. So yeah, man. So let me just press you then for a result.
I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal.
2-0 Arsenal?
Yeah, we're going to beat.
You don't think we'll concede? You don't think Mitrovic will get a goal? Huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up. I think we've been defensively a lot more solid. And I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. Yeah, I think we're going to beat them.
Okay. Well, I would agree with you that we're going to win. But where I have a slight disagreement is that I think we concede. I think Fulham are going to come out the traps quite hard. And they're going to be on our cases. I think it's going to be keen battle. It's a London derby. Okay, there are no fans, but it's going to be a big game for Fulham. I think they're going to be up first game back. They're going to want to make a statement. So we're going to have to deal with that, especially for about the first 15, 20 minutes. I could even see Fulham going ahead. I mean, us coming back and wrapping up with a 2, maybe. I'll go for 3-1, but I reckon we might go a goal down before we really start to kick in and start playing.
Okay.
I am looking forward to the game. It's going to be a great game, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, okay, so that was our Ops of the Week. Our second major topic of this week is following on from last week, where we looked at, we spoke about the 2 trophies in the 29 days, and, you know, we feel that the club may have turned the corner. And, you know, we were saying basically, you know, are the fans excited? So moving on then, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, what would be your minimum requirement for this season? What do you think the fans, you know, is the absolute minimum we will accept, given what's happened towards the end of the season? Okay, we finished 8th last season, which wasn't very good. But then we ended the season well in terms of the FA Cup and then, of course, the Community Shield. And right now, the vibes seem to be good. We've signed a couple of players. We might even sign a few more. And the optimism seems to have risen. You know what I mean? So given that, what do you think is acceptable for the minimum requirement? I mean, I'll put my thoughts out there right now. I would say that I'm looking at a minimum of top 6, but I'm also optimistic. I think we could get into that top 4. And I'd also like to see us have a long run in the Europa League, do well in that, and we could even retain the FA Cup. So that's me. So you're the expert, bro. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think, but I think we've got to get in the top 4. I think even coming 5th or 6th would be short of where we need to be. I think when you look at Chelsea got in the top 4 last year, they lost Hazard, they didn't sign anyone, they still got in the top 4. We have to get back in the Champions League. If we are a little bit short and maybe we don't get in the top 4, then I think we need to win that Europa League. I think we've got 2 opportunities to get in the Champions League, and we need to take one of them. You know, Arteta's proved he's a good manager in the cups. Now he's got to prove it in the league. So I think we need to get back in that top 4. But as we stand right now, I think we're 1 or 2 signings short. I think if you get that Partey deal done, then I would be very confident that we can get in the top 4. I think just need that extra big signing that then can push us into that top 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I mean, if we get the Partey, then obviously it significantly increases our chances of attaining the top 4. But what would you say your minimum requirement is?
I mean, I just think we've got to get back in the Champions League. So we either finish top 4 in the league. If we don't, then you've got to win the Europa League. So they're kind of the 2 ways that I think you can go about it. You've got to kind of see how the season's going. If it looks like we can get top 4, then you go for that. If we're struggling a little bit and we're 5th, 6th, and we're a little bit off, then go and win that Europa League. If we was to finish outside the top 4 and not win the Europa League, I would say this season was unsuccessful. Even if we was to win the FA Cup and finish like 5th or 6th, I think we've got to get back in the Champions League this year.
Yeah, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
The other thing is, it's only Arteta's 2nd season, really, though, and it's still going to take him time to.
You don't get that time though, do you? Lampard's done it in 1 year at Chelsea, you know, with no spending power. So for me, he's got to do it this season. People are singing his praises, and rightly so. He's earned it, but he's got to do it this year.
But I'm just conscious of that. Some of the other teams, man, are going to strengthen and go hard this year. I mean, you spoke about Chelsea. We've seen United sign Van der Beek. And Liverpool are looking to make a couple more signings, man, you know what I mean? And City we know about, you know what I mean? So, yeah, those teams
be hot.
And then you've also got to look at teams like Leicester and Wolves.
Yeah.
And there could be some surprises. Last season it was Sheffield United. There could be a couple of surprises. You know, the Premier League always throws up those types of situations. So the one thing we can say, man, it's going to be very competitive, ultra competitive as always, you know what I mean? And Arsenal are no longer at that top of that tree in terms of spending, as we've seen. You know what I mean? We can't get transfers that we've been engaged with or linked with to get them across the line. This is an ongoing situation now for a couple of years of Arsenal. So it's not like we can just go out there and just pluck players out. We can't do that, seemingly. So that obviously levels the playing field. So I'm trying to be a little bit realistic. I hear what you're saying. So you're basically saying, if we don't get Champions League, man, the season's been a dud.
I mean, look, you would hope to see improvements, but overall, yeah, to me, if we're not in the Champions League by the end of this season, I would say this has not been a successful season. You know, I think it's 3 or 4 years now we've been in the Europa League. I mean, at some point, you've got to turn that around. Yeah. And
I don't want to engage in semantics. So what are you saying then? So you're saying that if we don't get Champions League, are you saying that's not a successful season, or you're saying that the minimum requirement should be Champions League? They're slightly different, if you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I hear what you say. Like me, if I was the owner of Arsenal now, I'll be saying to Arteta, you've got to get us in the Champions League this season. That is the requirement. I'm not saying you sack him if he doesn't get it, but that's the target for me. Anything else to me is winning the FA Cup is great, but it's a great memory. It lifts the club. It's a trophy. We put it on the board and, you know, in the cabinet, but that doesn't lift the club enough. You know, it gives you a lift, but it doesn't, you know, financially give you massive profile. And, you know, players want Champions League football. Yeah. You know, to go to that next level, we need to be back in that. It's a big...
I see the FA Cup, us winning the FA Cup last season as a kind of stepping stone, as a catalyst for achieving other things. So, like, you know, as I said earlier, we finished 8th in the league, which, let's be honest, man, that was disappointing.
Terrible.
Well, listen, man, I'm trying to cut in some slack here. It was you know, I mean, he only took over in December. So
yeah, no, I'm not blaming Arteta for it.
Stuff, but let's be honest, it was disappointing in terms of our league position. But then, like I said, the securing the FA Cup it lifted everybody. The optimism was renewed. And now we're in a situation now where we can capitalize on that, hopefully. So I'm saying realistically that it would be great to get in the Champions League, but given the fact that teams in and around us are going to be strengthening as well, and given the competitiveness of the league, I'm going to stop short of saying if he doesn't get champ. I don't know, maybe I'm setting my sights a bit too low, but I'm saying that I would, difficult to say satisfied, I could accept if we finished in the top 6 and had some good cup runs, because I understand that he's still trying to develop things. He's still trying to build a team. We're seeing green shoots. We're seeing the fact that the team now is more resilient. They're playing more like a team. It's got a bit more identity.
Yeah.
But you still got to factor in that other teams are going to be going hard as well. Yeah, I'd love a top 4 and a couple of trophies or a trophy, but I think it's going to be difficult, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it will be difficult. I actually think us being in the Europa League can help us, because your Aubameyangs, people like that, they don't need to play in the Europa League till probably we're through the group stage. You know, you're not going to play against world-beating teams in the group, so you can play a lot of young players and fringe players. While Man U and Chelsea playing, you know, top teams in the Champions League and having difficult games, we can rest a lot of our players midweek. So that may help us towards the end of the season as well. But yeah, maybe I'm shooting a bit high, but I just think
no, I appreciate your honesty. And I've spoken to one or two other people off the record as well, and they've said similar to you, that now it's got the Champions League or nothing. Yeah. I'm just trying to A, play devil's advocate, and B, be the voice of reason in terms of just stabilizing people's expectations of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, listen, man, I want Champions League as well, for sure. But, you know, I mean, realistically, we have to look at the situation and say, look, we still haven't got some of those players that we were hoping to get across the line. I mean, God knows we still haven't even got Aubameyang signed.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you've got to factor everything into the equation, man. It's a real hodgepodge of stuff. Let's not forget Tottenham as well. Down the road, they're going to be looking to strengthen. You know?
I'm joking.
I mean,
yeah, you have to take them serious as well.
Yeah, you have to take these guys seriously. It's all right, I'll say, yeah, this and that. But then, man, all of those aforementioned teams I was talking about, they all finished above us last season.
I know. Oh, listen, if Aubameyang leaves,
City, Liverpool, they all was above us. So
it was all above. If Aubameyang leaves, I won't be saying. I'll be happy if we stay up if Aubameyang leaves. Never mind top 4.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if
the Premier League is in its competitiveness? So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if a couple of teams that were not that highly thought of just suddenly spring up, and next minute, you know, they're challenging us. You know what I mean? It's a long season. It's very competitive. And it's all to play for, man. But the one thing we can all say is that we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So, yeah, man. Okay, so we've discussed that then. We're in the phase that we're going to start rounding up the show, man. So unless you got any, this is the chance where I'll give you, if you got anything you want to mention.
No, man, just check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV. Lots of content coming out on there. Obviously Arsenal, big season coming up. And I think, as I said, man, 1 or 2, I still think we haven't made that trademark signing this summer. I think we've brought in good players, Gabriel and Willian, but we need that marquee signing. I think Partey is the one for me that we really need. Aouar's a good player as well, but Partey is the one for me. If we can get that, then I think we can get in the top 4. If we don't, then maybe our midfield is not quite good enough to get in there.
Yeah, I must admit that the midfield is the area of concern now. I mean, listen, goalkeeping, we're fine. We've had problems in defence previously, but I'm really excited to see now these 2 guys, Gabriel and Saliba. I mean, listen, I've been hearing big things about Saliba.
Yeah, very.
The next Varane and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing. And they're young guys as well.
Yeah.
And they'll be full of energy. They'll be raring to go, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. But the midfield area, okay, we've retained the services of Danny Ceballos, which is good. So towards the end of the season, he was starting to come really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. But I would have liked to have seen that midfield area bolstered
Yeah.
Disappointed that we haven't, you know, secured that yet. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Ozil. I mean, he still remains a quality player despite everything that's gone on. He seems to be talking like he's got a renewed sense of purpose, which I like.
Yeah.
Because I know people like you have been critical about his attitude in the past, saying that he doesn't seem to want it enough. Well, at least he's talking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he seems like he wants it, so we'll see how that goes, man. So, yeah. But just to say, man, listen, thanks for your contributions, as always, man. It's a real pleasure to have you every week. Thanks to all the viewers out there and listeners, all the people tuning in. We appreciate your support. Like, share, and subscribe. Send us your comments and your messages, man. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Robbie here from AFTV. We just got to say a big thank you to everybody who follows us across our various channels. Over 1 million followers on YouTube. Don't forget, you can now also catch us on Reddit. We're on Reddit, so get involved with us on Reddit and also on TikTok. Keep it AFTV, baby, right here.